Guys, we've all been there. At some point you look in the mirror and say, where did my hairline go? Those power alleys in left and right center field continue to grow as you get older. Did you know that 66% of men lose their hair by age 35? Thing is, when you start noticing hair loss, maybe a little too late. You don't want that bald spot to just pop up. You want to do something about it first. That's why you need to visit 4hims.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and other wellness supplements for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Science. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. They have well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. Look, this isn't snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements. Instead, prescription solutions backed by, again, science. No waiting room, no awkward doctor visits. Save hours by going to 4hims.com. Just answer a few questions, the doctor will review and give you a prescription, and products are shipped directly to your door. Order today and listeners get a trial month of Hims for just $5 while supplies last. See website for full details. Look, that'll cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. Go to 4hims.com/wingo. That's FORHIMS.com/wingo. 4hims.com/wingo.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Rolling through a Wednesday morning. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Glad you're with us. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. First of all, I have to stand up and give my man Ryan Hollins a standing O right there. His rookie appearance on Bretomology and goes 4 for 4. 4 for 4.
Give me some.
That was great. 4? And unfortunately, we can't have Ryan back now because he completely upstaged me in that, and I can't allow that to go on. So it's been an enjoyable morning, Ryan. We got 2 more great hours coming up, but this will be your last time here.
And we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. No, you nailed it. 4
Unreal.
for 4. That's a strong. No one has ever started 4 for 4. I think Golic went 3 for 4 week 1. No one has ever started out of the game 4 for 4.
You know the pressure behind that fourth question?
Yeah.
The pressure there, and then you scream out that I was 2 for 3.
Yeah, I made up. I messed up.
Wow.
I messed up. You know what?
That happened.
You know what? I didn't believe in you, and now I believe in you. I just want you to know that. I felt bad about that, but I'm making up for it.
That means a lot.
So the pressure of answering that fourth question right after going 3 for 3, that's like coming off the bench and maybe playing quality minutes in the NBA Finals that Rodney Hood's going to get after being DNP for the last couple of games. We are presented by Progressive Insurance.
Ow.
All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, but this hour specifically of Golic and Wingo, brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book at LQ.com and win at business. Let's get started with what's trending, and obviously what's trending the most is Game 3 of the NBA Finals. It's in Cleveland now. Golden State travels to the Q, Quicken Loans Arena, for Game 3, 9 o'clock tonight Eastern on ABC and ESPN Radio. How important is Game 3 for Cleveland? Teams to fall down 3-0 in a playoff series are 0-131 all time, and specifically 0-13 in the NBA Finals, Mike. So basically, if we're going to have a series, it starts tonight.
Would be an incredible tendency breaker for Golden State to show up in this game for a team whose interest and intensity has sort of waxed and waned throughout the playoffs and really throughout the entire season. For them to come out in an environment where we know the home team role players always play better, where we know has been extremely supportive of this Cavaliers team during the run, for Golden State to come and snatch one in this game seems incredibly unlikely, which is why more and more I'm starting to wonder if that might just happen.
No, you're right. But both teams' tendencies are to relax. One is to relax, and one is to have been taking their time and then turn it on. But it's so hard to eliminate a team. And if you win this game for the Warriors, you've essentially eliminated the Cavaliers. You have. I mean, that's what history says. So, Cavaliers. All
right, we'll talk more about this going forward, but in NBA Finals history, teams down 2-0 have come back to win the series only 4 times. The last time to do it, LeBron James, when he led the Cavs back in 2016. But again, there are 2 important caveats there. A, that Warriors team didn't have Kevin Durant, and B, that Cavaliers team had Kyrie Irving. Those 2 things are in this. The other 2 times to do it was 2006 when the Heat came back from down 2-0, the 1977 Trailblazers, and the 1969 Boston Celtics. Meanwhile, as we continue with what's trending, former unified junior welterweight champ Terrence Crawford goes up in weight to challenge welterweight world title holder Jeff Horn in a fight that'll air live on ESPN Plus in the United States at 9:30 Eastern on Saturday, June 9th, from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Horn won the title by beating Manny Pacquiao in a huge upset in July of 2017 in Brisbane, Australia.
That was the first fight when ESPN started bringing back the fights on our air. That was the very first one that aired, and you remembered all the excitement around that win for Horn now. So another follow-up here, and you get to do it on Plus, so make sure you go and check that out if you haven't already been watching Kobe Bryant curse NBA players.
Oh, it's unbelievable,
on
right?
ESPN Plus. Now you can watch boxing.
For those that don't know what Junior's talking about, Kobe Bryant, it's called Details, right? Details. And he breaks down a specific player in the game of the previous games, and then that player usually doesn't go out and do well.
So
the team
does the opposing team.
Exactly.
After he does it, the opposing team does too.
He's doing the scouting for the opposing team. So we got that. We got Details on ESPN Plus. We got this fight. We're also coming soon to ESPN Plus. We've got MMA.
Yes.
So if you don't have ESPN Plus, learn how to get it. There's all kinds of things you can watch on ESPN Plus. And in what is being called an immaculate inning, although Junior and I have a disagreement with it, congratulations to Max Scherzer. The Nats beat Tampa Bay 4-2. He had 13 strikeouts in 8 innings, including his second career immaculate inning in the 6th, which is striking out 3 batters on just 9 pitches. 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3. However, as great as that is, we both agree there's a more efficient way to do this.
Listen, I'm all about putting in minimal effort as long as I can get those same quality results. And if you can get out of an inning with 3 pitches, 3 ground outs, and walk to the sideline, walk back to the dugout with no sweat on your brow, that to me is immaculate.
Would you feel a little guilty after doing that? A little like dang, I didn't feel like I worked today. 9 pitches out the inning?
No, you were just so good at your work that the other team couldn't keep up with you.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
Ryan, I walk in here and do this every day, all right? This is I should wear a ski mask into work, and you think I'm going to be upset about getting out of an inning with 3 pitches? He's at least exerting himself.
Look, we're not denigrating the accomplishment. He's done it before. It's a very rare feat. Congratulations.
12 strikeouts, back-to-back games,
exactly.
12-plus for the first time in his career. Dude's great. We know that.
ERA under 2. Only Jacob deGrom of the Mets has a lower ERA. I get all of that. But if you're telling me first pitch, little pop-up, catcher catches it. Second pitch, little dribbler down the third baseline, throw to first. And third pitch is a little looper to short right, and the shortstop runs back 2 steps and takes it. That's pretty darn good.
Exactly.
That's from where we sit, that is pretty darn good. But congratulations to Max Scherzer. Again, a second immaculate inning in the 6th inning, striking out 3 batters on just 9 pitches. Okay, we are here. Golic and Wingo with you. Mike Jr. in for Mike Sr., who is in Cleveland visiting his mother. Hot Take Hollins has been on fire today, including in Breadamology. And, the only way we could possibly think about upping the hot take or the energy from Ryan Hollins is to bring in our next guest.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.
Are you ready?
Let's go! Let's go! Listen, I'm telling you right now that every week I love Breadamology in that segment more than anything else. But if you're telling me that we could end last hour with Breadamology and then start this hour with this guest, it doesn't get any better than this. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, the current head coach of the Arizona State football team, former head coach of the New York Jets and the Kansas City Chiefs, former defensive back for the Philadelphia Eagles, and for 9 years, my road dog here at ESPN, we are delighted to be joined once again by Herm Edwards this morning. Coach, how are you?
Road dog, we're doing good. I had to get up a little early and start my workout, as you know, because I knew I was going to get this call today. So I'm halfway, and I got my cardio done in an hour, so I'm going to take a little break with you folks, and I'm going back to the other hour.
And for people that don't understand, when he says he gets up early, you need to understand how early he gets up. Herm gets up every morning at 4:30 for a workout.
Gosh!
So if he got up an hour early, that means he got up at 3:30 this morning to get his workout in just so he could be with us It is our honor, Coach. Now, listen, on your last NFL Live in December, I said something that I meant from the bottom of my heart. You're never too old to be coached. And you coached me up for 9 years as you were here with me on NFL Live and all the things we did together. So right now, I'm telling you, the Cleveland Cavaliers need you, Coach. They need you. So put yourself in the shoes of Tyronn Lue or in a situation like this you've been in football. It is do or die. It is desperate time. You got to play to win this game. How are you as a coach approaching this?
Well, it's real simple. I think, first of all, you have to use the home crowd to your advantage and the energy in that arena. I think these players have been faced with that. We know that number 23 has been faced with that his whole career. I can't say enough about what this man has done in his basketball career. I mean, it's unbelievable that he sits in this situation 0-2, and we can go back to the first game and say some decisions made when the moment of execution needs to be at its highest was not made. We can make all those excuses, but the matter of the fact is they're 0-2. And with being 0-2, and I've been in playoff games, I've been in playoff situations, it's the fourth quarter. You've got to score a touchdown. It's the last drive to you to keep alive. And I think if you're Cleveland, the players, not LeBron James, but the players, the cast of players have to play above their skill level with emotion. They have to have emotion. And I think it gets started on the defensive side of the floor. We saw how they took advantage of the pick and roll and put some players in some bad situations guarding Steph. I do think these guys beat you by shooting three-pointers. I would force them to drive to the basket, and I've always said this. The thing I like about basketball, especially now in the playoffs, is that you got to have some roughhouse guys. And when you take the three-point away and make them drive, that equalizes their offense. And when they drive to the basket, use all your foul. You've got to knock them to the ground, legal. And there's nothing dirty, but knock them to the ground. You got to make this a physical game, an uncomfortable game. Don't allow them to stay in the game and take the crowd out of it by hitting those threes. Force them to the basket. And when they come to the basket, make sure when you foul them, it's a hard foul. They have to fall on the ground. They have to fall on the ground, period. And illegal. I'm not saying they're illegal, but in my opinion, that's how you play your game. And I think if they do that, they have a chance to win.
Talking to Herm Edwards, father of dragons on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
By the way, when does our dragon show come up? Because, I'm tapped out. I'm not watching anymore because the bad guys got the dragons.
April of 2019, Coach. April of 2019.
Yeah, we got time to get ready for it, Coach. Yeah, we're gonna get up against those bad guys and their dragon. But I want to ask you about one of the good guys right now in LeBron James, and internally for this Cavs team. We've talked a lot about what they need to do against the Warriors, but internally we got to look from the outside at this team in that huddle. I don't know if you saw the footage, but LeBron James in that last timeout, his response not only to the news that they had a timeout, but with J.R. Smith coming off of that blunder for him. In that moment, as someone who's been a leader both as a player and as a coach, how do you handle such disappointment on a big stage like that?
Well, I think that's the problem in today's world with all these players and coaches, that everything you do, it's on camera, and that's all they're going to show. And I think LeBron knows that, but I think the teammates know that as well. Now, sometimes the look is one of those, well, what did he mean? Well, I think everyone knows what he meant. And I think behind closed doors, that'll be addressed, and they got to move on. You can't live in the past. You can't live on what happened and what if this and what if that could have happened. I mean, that's kind of football every year. I always say the difference between 10-6 and 6-10 basically is about 35 plays in the course of a season. If you make them, you're 10-6. If you don't, you're 6-10. And I think these guys are professional basketball players. They have gotten to a place where a lot of people didn't anticipate this team getting to. Now, they're playing an all-star group, and I think they know it. But they're role players, as I said. They got to play with emotion. You have to be emotional right now. I mean, you got to play with your hair on fire. You really do. I mean, if you're Tyronn Lue, there's not a whole lot to be said. Hey, you're playing in the finals with one of the greatest basketball players that ever has tied him up in LeBron James. And so that is your ace. You want to get it close like you did in the first game, and hopefully LeBron James has the ball in his hand and he can dictate the terms of how they want to win that game. And that's what you're hoping now. What I said before, for me, it's real simple. You got to make this a physical contest. You have to make it physical. You can't allow these guys to shoot 3 points in your home arena. You got to make them drive to the basket and live with the consequences. If they beat you laying the ball up, they're the better team. But I'm going to find out if they really want to continue to go in there, because they're going to feel some pressure and some body heat when they go in there.
We're here with Herm Edwards, legend and current Arizona State coach. Herm, I wanted you to know that Dyron Reynolds, that's my brother-in-law, he speaks so highly of you all the time. And I want you to know, I don't know if you remember this, Coach. I don't know if you remember this, but when I was in Cleveland, we were having a historically bad season, and you gave us a pep talk, and I was so thankful and so ashamed at the same time because we hadn't won a game. Do you remember that, Coach?
I remember that. I remember we said it one morning, and that's why I said this Cleveland thing all of a sudden keeps coming up.
Well,
I don't want it to come up anymore.
Yes. Well, Coach,
and
I
you're
know.
doing a great. Hey, let me tell you something. You're doing a great job too, my man. You're doing a great
Coach,
job, man.
I appreciate it. And Coach, I don't know if you know, the other day there was a Twitter follower that said I look like a young Herm Edwards. I don't know if there's any truth behind that, but that's a privilege, Coach. That's a privilege, my man. But Herm, I want you to talk about the little things, because you won championships, and I don't care what sport, what level it was on, and it's always about the little things. And during that session where they didn't know that they had a timeout, there was the JR blunder. I know from being in the locker room, that's more of a team thing. It's the assistant coaches. It's the guys on the bench. It's the guys on the floor. It doesn't just fall on LeBron. It doesn't just fall on JR. Talk about accountability within playing at a championship level, and how important just knowing situations, timeouts, play calls, because you know some guys get scatterbrained. We got to help each other out. So talk about that, please, Coach.
No, it's critical. You make a great point, and that's discussed. Anytime a timeout is taken, or during the course of practice, you always set up what I call situations.
Yes.
So you have to think, and you have to say, this is a situation. We've got two options. These are the options. And then I think the guys on the court have to keep reminding each other. And this is why I've always said, when the critical moments come, especially in a football game, let's say in a football game offensively, who's going to touch the ball? That's all I'm concerned with, because your decision makers, and you got to make sure they're touching the ball. Now, what happened in that game, obviously there was a rebound, a shot, and then from there you're hoping when that happens, the guy that has the ball understands the situation, and when you lose track of it, we've seen it before in big games, guys. We've seen this before. And there's the nightmare. That's the nightmare scenario showed up. Did not know the situation. All those that do not play basketball all have an answer. We always have the answers after the fact, and that's the sad part about it, because can you imagine if they win that first game, the energy they have?
Exactly.
But all of a sudden they find themselves 0-2. We knew what was going to happen. When that took place and it went overtime, you went, oh, man. Because remember, the Warriors in that game, when you look at the game, the Warriors didn't play well. They were excited the fact that, we're going to take it into overtime. Right. They gave us a second chance.
They are, Coach. It's been unbelievable. So listen, Herm Edwards is with us, my road dog. He's done everything. Listen, he's the Arizona State head coach, but before he was that, he traveled around the globe giving motivational speeches to your Cleveland Cavaliers, Ryan, when you played, to businesses across the country, because he has advice like,
don't press in.
And he gets people fired up by saying, hello. So, Coach, forget X's and O's for a second here. I need you to channel press conference Herm, corporate leadership Herm. What is the one message, forget X's and O's, to get these guys in the right mind to make this a series? What would you say to them?
I would tell every individual before they walk on that court, when they leave the court, they have to leave it all on the floor. They can't look back. You can't look back. You're a professional basketball player. This is what you do. You dreamed of this when you were a young kid, 5 or 6 years old. You dreamt of playing in the finals, of winning the championship. It's looking you in your face. And if you don't win this game, it's going to be very difficult to win a championship. And I think this is the one you got to win. This is the championship game for you. This is the one. This is the championship game. You got to say, this is the final game of number 7. It's number 3. And if we win this, we win the championship. Because now they got a chance. But you got to win this game. It's not even a must. This is what you dreamed of doing, of winning a game in the finals. Go win this game and see what happens. And see all of a sudden how the momentum switches. And all of a sudden that other team has concern. But you got to go do it. You got to want to go do this.
Oh, Herm, you're the best, baby. Listen, Herm Edwards,
I'm
sure they're ready. We're ready. Ain't nothing better than waking up early. Ryan is taking off his suit coat. He's ready to go play right now, Coach. And his pants.
Hey, all you got to do is defend the baby.
Come on.
I always say, in the big moments, and you know what? It's like any great game, right?
Yeah.
It always comes down to a last couple plays, and you know what it ends up? Are you willing to play defense?
There you go.
Are you willing to play defense? Are you willing to play without the ball?
There you go.
Play without the ball and see what happens.
Rhodey,
Go put your chest on somebody.
Yeah.
Go put your chest on somebody and go chest to chest.
Yeah.
The chest.
There we go. Let's go.
That's what you got to do.
Get him.
Rhodey, you are the absolute best. I love you. I miss you. I hope you're doing great things at Arizona State, and we appreciate you getting us hyped up a little bit for Game 3
Go easy on my Bruins.
Forks up.
Okay.
Forks up, Rhodey. Forks up.
Talking to you, Rhodey.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash."
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. NBA superstar and hot take enthusiast Ryan Hollins is here with us all show long. Mike Golic Jr. here, Trey Wingo here. Now, Junior, all show long, you and I have been trying to come up with something that is better than the immaculate inning, which I get it. Strikeouts are the thing that pitchers crave. It's like a home run for batters. I get it. But that's 9 pitches when you could really get out in 3. But you found even a better way.
We've found an exciting loophole, this courtesy of NABob185 on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. He says, if an immaculate inning is all about minimal effort, it would be intentionally walking the first 2 batters, which under the new rules requires 0 pitches.
Correct.
And then the third batter hits into a triple play on the first pitch. The 1-pitch inning.
Yeah.
The 1-pitch inning.
Right.
I feel like that deserves an even better name than the immaculate inning. That's transcendent.
Is that the what would be better than immaculate?
The Holy Grail?
The Holy Grail of innings, the impeccable inning?
Or you shout Uno when you leave?
Uno.
Slap a card against your
Nicely
forehead?
done.
Would that ever happen? Is it? I mean, ever?
No, because this is the first year you could intentionally walk people without walking them.
Yeah.
But researcher Brett, who apparently isn't satisfied with just having his own segment on the show, has a thought on what we could name that.
Well, no, not on what we can name it. You could do better than that. You could do a 0-pitch inning because you could just put guys on and pick them off.
All right.
Yeah, but
without
that's a
throwing
lot.
a pitch.
But
In
that
theory,
requires a lot of effort. That's 3 throws. I'm talking about 1 throw and you're done. If you're picking 3 guys off, wouldn't that require 3 throws?
Look, you're saying pitches, and a throw to first base is not a pitch. Just ask John Lester.
Technicality. Look at researcher Brett throwing it. We're talking about minimal effort.
Shade.
You're right, but minimal effort. It would require 3 pickoff moves at least. So we can get out of this with 1. But one throw.
Yeah, it's
More
tough.
importantly, Brett, how about my 4-for-4 day? How about that immaculate day from Hollins?
I'm just doing well for my UCLA guy. We got the connection.
There you go.
Yeah, so Brettomology earlier, Ryan Hollins goes 4 for 4 in his inaugural visit.
Well done.
And we believe that there's some collusion at play. There's a UCLA connection between our researcher and our hot take artist, and I am not above saying that this whole thing has an asterisk next to it now.
Well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
I'm that petty.
Speaking of California, where, of course, they both went, and speaking of Los Angeles, the phrase is, maybe we'll get to this in Brettomology, winning cures all. and we'll figure out where that came from. But as Brett has said before, he doesn't take suggestions.
No requests.
Or requests. So he's what have we done? What have we done with researcher Brett? But now, Kevin Durant is still being criticized for joining the Warriors. People are saying it's ruined basketball. Now, Durant recently spoke about his decision to join Golden State a couple of years ago to The Athletic. Quote, "At that time in my career, I didn't know how other people felt about my game. I knew that I was pretty damn good, and I knew I worked extremely hard, but I needed that validation from my peers and teams and GMs, people that are really into the game to really help me feel good about myself and help me feel confident and let me know that what I was doing was working." So that's what he said in a recent article to The Athletic. Now, SI NBA writer Andrew Sharp joined the Will Cain show yesterday and said the only way Durant is going to get the validation he craves is by leaving the Warriors?
You go back to the bigger issue. It's like he wants this validation, and he was trying to get it basically playing the game that LeBron created with free agency, and he just took it a little bit too far, and he's now kind of the first superstar we've ever seen who can't win by winning. And it's a tough situation to be in. So if I were him, I would really try to look around. And again, LA makes a lot of sense, and he would immediately become one of the biggest stars on the planet there. And suddenly, like there are 5 contenders at that point. Because you take Durant off the Warriors, there are 4 or 5 teams that would be equally positioned, and it would be a hell of a year.
Okay, so Kevin Durant possibly leaving Golden State. I think he has the ability to opt out after this year. And then go to the Warriors. First of all, Lakers, excuse me. First of all, I have no issue with the way he went. And if you do, get over yourself. I mean, it's his choice. It's his life. He can do whatever he wants. However, the idea, Ryan, that he goes to the Lakers, what do you think about that idea?
Well, when LeBron gets to the Lakers.
Oh, there we go.
When LeBron gets to the Lakers,
yeah.
Which is going because
you believe that's where LeBron is going to go?
Yeah, he's going to go there.
Okay, why?
He's going to go there.
Why are you so concerned he's going to go there? Or so sure?
He can be a megastar.
He's a megastar.
Not just on the court. He can be a megastar off the court.
He's a megastar in Cleveland. He doesn't need the Lakers. He doesn't need Los Angeles to make him a megastar.
One thing, since we talk about what we know, I know LA. I know Lakers, and in that him being there puts LeBron on a different plateau. And I get that people say LeBron's name is already a worldwide product.
He is a worldwide product.
He is, but he lives there, and there's nothing like the prestige that he can have and we can do for his market and his business. We're talking business, LeBron, than with the Lakers. And I know you look at that situation and some people go, the Lakers, what's he going to do there? They've got a lot of cap room. They've got space. They've got movable assets. So that's a desirable place, not to mention Paul George is very likely, realistically, going to go there also. But Durant, I mean, you know what? Honestly, right now, I got to take my hats off because that was a hot take. He's not going to leave the Warriors, but that's a hot take because he's got us moving, man. I love the concept to be thrown around.
I just enjoy, and I have to almost appreciate this level of honesty from Kevin Durant in that piece.
Right.
You don't get athletes at the highest level admitting flaws in their confidence the way Kevin Durant does.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant openly copped to the fact that he needs other people to say and feel
validation.
good about him, to feel good about himself. That's a really, in my mind, intimate admission that we cannot overlook. Like, that's important. That is vulnerability on a stage where normally superstars aren't going to give you that.
Well, one, he knew he was going to end up being a Charles Barkley, a guy that has been the MVP of our league, gold medalist, achieved everything you can name other than an NBA championship if he did not make that move. If I'm not mistaken, Kevin Durant's 28, 29 years old right now?
Yeah.
So you're looking at the next 5 years of your life and you're saying, I got a window that's this small to win an NBA championship. I got to get a ring on my finger because I don't want to be 33, 34 years old chasing that thing.
Oh, no, I get
like
that.
Like Malone, Stockton, all those other ones
I get that, but to me that's immaterial because the ring hasn't made him happy. It hasn't made his life any better.
It made it better.
He just admitted in there that he needed other people to talk well about him, that the ring was not what ultimately gave him that satisfaction. It was the fact that he got the respect that he wanted or seems to still be chasing that, seems to still think that's evading him.
There's a little fluff in there. There's some fluff in there. He's just giving you something for the media. As players, KD's a bad boy. On every scouting report, he knows the respect for him has always been there, but he hadn't had that national notoriety. He hadn't had the big shoe contract, the big name, the playing in those ABC games, and then they were playing a bad brand of basketball in Oklahoma City. He gave it a shot, and essentially Oklahoma City put the writing on the walls and said, KD, you can go because we're not that serious about a championship. Bye, Harden. Bye, Ibaka. Shipping people out. So, I mean, to me, like, it was a no-brainer. KD's just trying to do the politically correct thing and just saying, like, man, like, let's get this past me.
Right. Okay. So you think you think Kevin Durant will end up in Los Angeles next year?
No. He stays where he stays.
You think he's staying?
There's one thing he's enjoying, and that's not having to shoulder all this load of work on his own. Basketball's become easy for him. And he's appreciated there, and they have a chance to be a dynasty and win. And since we've ever played sports from being a young kiddo, we have dreams of championships. So you feel bad coming in second. You don't want to be anything else. And he has a legitimate chance to do that year in and year out at Golden State.
What did Tiger Woods say when he first came onto the tour?
It's Tiger Woods, y'all. It's all good,
second
y'all.
Sucks and third is worst. I mean, basically that's the philosophy here. And we'll see what happens with Kevin Durant. I still don't think LeBron James is going to be any more of a superstar in Los Angeles than he would be right now, but I will defer to your
no, don't be nice to me now.
I'm just saying he's LeBron James no matter where he lives.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
We will actually, it's absence makes the heart grow fonder, but distance is close enough.
Is it really absence?
Absence makes the heart.
The actual saying is absence
makes the heart grow.
Maybe that'll be in Brettomology at one point.
We're not taking requests, you guys.
Whoa!
Come get a taste.
By the way, then we actually did absence makes the heart grow fonder in the next episode of Brettomology.
And you know what? When you're distant, you're also absent. So ipso facto, the transitive property here, distance makes the heart grow fonder.
You bet.
Anyway, SportsCenter is brought to you by Ultimate Software. In business, just like in sports, success comes down to having a talented team and a strong game plan. And that's where Ultimate Software comes in with HR, payroll, and talent management technology that puts your people first.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Mike Golic Jr. here, Trey Wingo. Mike is off visiting his mother in Cleveland, Ryan Hollins, our NBA analyst. We like to call him Hot Take Hollins. We should also call him Jammin' Hot Take Hollins because he has been into the music that Cliff has been throwing down today as our cookmaster.
Good vibes only.
Me and Cliff had to talk about this yesterday.
Yeah,
he's doing okay. I want a little more, Cliff. I want a little more, Cliff. But you've been holding up to your word, Cliff.
Wow, look at this. He comes in and goes for one day, and now he's just taking over the entire stage.
Calling shots, man. Guy goes 4 for 4 in Brettomology once. Thinks he runs the show.
I'm not. This was Devin and Cliff yesterday. This was their talk, not my talk.
Okay.
This was them, not me. I'm not owning this.
Was it Straight Talk?
Brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Listen, here's the deal. We just don't want you to get like Brett. Like, we've created a monster and researcher, Brett, that we almost regret. I mean,
my God.
I don't know what's bigger, Brett's actual size or his ego at this point.
Wow.
He doesn't take requests. So, I mean, he chimes in whenever he wants. We chimes in whenever he wants. We can't. Oh, see, there they go. So he's deciding to chime
Brett
in
is
right now.
Brett
I'm
is
on
in
the
fine
ketogenic
shape.
diet these days. I'm trying to. No, I'm
Oh,
kidding.
you've gone keto. Nice. Congratulations.
He was the one that said he puts the size in seismology, which, by the way, one of the greatest lines in the history of the show. I want to move on. And so we don't want you to get a big head. So we just want you to be doing well and everything's going fine.
Well, I would say you brought me back down to earth a couple segments ago.
But you know what? You were Chumbawamba. You got knocked down, you get back up again. Nothing's ever going to keep you down. All right, meanwhile, speaking of some guy that won't be kept down, this is a great story. Former NHL referee Garrett Rank, a survivor of testicular cancer and a full-time NHL ref who officiated 3 postseasons and 73 regular season games, has qualified for the 2018 U.S. Open at Shinnecock after tying for first at a regional tournament. Quote, "I'm just really proud of all the hard work and dedication and time you put into the game. There'll be a lot of really proud people back in Elmira, Canada, where he's from," said Rank, the 30-year-old who was the runner-up in the 2012 U.S. Mid-Amateur Championship. And by the way, if you win the Mid-Amateur Championship, you get a lot of invites, including the U.S. Open. I think you get an invitation to the Masters as well. He said, "My dad passed away a few years ago, and he'd be really jazzed to see me there." So that is a really cool story. You have a guy who has accomplished something that's a very high level, became an NHL referee, did that at a very high level, made it to the postseason, was part of 3 postseasons, 73 regular season games, and now obviously his passion is golf. He's taken that up and qualified for Shinnecock, the U.S. Open. That's an amazing story.
Well, for one, he touched me with that, giving the dad shout out.
Yeah.
But I got to ask you guys, is this a deal where he should have been golfing the entire time? Or are we giving kudos for this guy being multi-talented at the time?
Look, you could obviously he's a very good golfer. There's no question about it. You qualify for the U.S. Open, you are an extremely good golfer. But there have been so many really good golfers. Dan Marino tried for many years to qualify. Tony Romo's tried to qualify. So clearly, you have to be a really good golfer. But there is a huge leap between qualifying for one U.S. Open and being able to make money on the PGA Tour. I mean, first of all, in all this qualifying, there's 4 people around, maybe 5, maybe a couple family members. It is a totally people always say there's 3 kinds of golf. There's recreational golf, there's competitive golf, and there's championship golf. And the vast difference from being able to play well in regular golf as opposed to competitive golf and then championship golf, that is the Grand Canyon, baby. That is the Grand Canyon.
But wouldn't we say, fair enough, he would never know if he hadn't gone all in. So the fact that he hadn't gone all in and was able to achieve that says a lot about his talent.
It does. Now, he's only 30 years old. That's the thing that I find interesting. So if he wants to do this, he still has time enough to get it done.
He's a young man. You also don't know the life circumstances that force you into a particular line of work. I mean, he is a testicular cancer survivor, so that's something that's a part of his story there. And you do what you have to do in order to get by at the time. So maybe being an NHL referee is what got him by until he's at a point now where he's comfortable enough to go ahead and shoot his shot.
Exactly. My dad, before he passed, he always said that golf extended his life out. Just going out, relaxing.
Yes.
Not worrying about anything, that it literally saved him.
Listen, I'm all about it, man. I try to save my life almost every day in the summertime when I'm out there on the shore.
Trey, in all honesty, how jealous are you of this guy right now? Because this has to be your dream, going from the chair in front of a microphone or on the NFL live set to going out in a PGA golf course.
I've always said if you could trade lives with somebody, who would it be? It would be Justin Timberlake, man. First of all, the guy can sing, he can act, he can dance. He goes to hang out with Steph Curry at the Lake Tahoe event every year, and he's like a scratch golfer. So, I mean, that's pretty much down the list.
Is that if that was your deal, like what else you could do, like that's it?
Oh, I would love it if I could do it, but I can't.
You NBA, what's your deal?
NBA?
Every football player that I want to play in the NBA, I feel like.
Yeah, NBA would be up there. I'd like to just be able to dunk for a day. It'd be nice.
Yeah. What about you in like 10 seconds?
I'm a football player.
Really?
I swear I'm a football player. That's why I take real offense to what you told me about NFL stuff. We can talk about that later. I'm serious.
I love that about you. I just want you to know that. So congratulations to Garrett Rank. And as the link on the article said, he went from the rink to the links. Oof. And that thing writes itself.
Talk about a tag.
Coming up, our next guest has been friends with friends. And while he wrote about a long December, he hopes it won't be a long June for his favorite NBA team. We got a lot coming for you. Stay with us. Hot Take Hollins is on fire today on Golic and Wingo. Guys, we've all been there. At some point, you look in the mirror and say, where did my hairline go? Those power alleys in left and right center field continue to grow as you get older. Did you know that 66% of men lose their hair by age 35? Thing is, when you start noticing hair loss, maybe a little too late. You don't want that bald spot to just pop up. You want to do something about it first. That's why you need to visit forhims.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and other wellness supplements for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Science. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. They have well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. Look, this isn't snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements. Instead, prescription solutions backed by, again, science. No waiting room, no awkward doctor visits. Save hours by going to forhims.com. Just answer a few questions, the doctor will review and give you a prescription, and products are shipped directly to your door. Order today and listeners get a trial month of Hims for just $5 while supplies last. See website for full details. Look, that'll cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. Go to forhims.com/wingo. That's forhims.com/wingo. forhims.com/wingo.
Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Oh, we are getting ready. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. That, of course, is Hot Take Hollins just destroying that Counting Crows song.
Cliff just broke his streak, by the way, with that.
Whoa. No.
Whoa.
Let's just say tread lightly. Golic and Wingo reminding you that the NBA Finals are on ESPN Radio. Tune in tonight for Game 3 as LeBron and the Cavs host Kevin Durant and the Warriors. Presented by Indeed, our coverage begins at 8 Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. Now, one of the things that I love about sports is the cross-pollination, because you see so many guys in sports that would prefer or also are so interested in the arts, whether it's acting or music or whatever you want to do. For example, Eddie George, former great NFL player, is now on stage acting. He'll be here in, I think he might be here now, here in Hartford, playing at the Schubert Theater in Chicago. He's been on Broadway, all this kind of stuff. But there's also the attraction by so many in the arts to sports. And you always see, whenever you go to one of these championship events, you find so many artists, whether they're singers, songwriters, actors, musicians, whatever, dancers, whatever they are, they're attracted to the game because it's like poetry for them as well. Flashback to Super Bowl 46 in Indianapolis. The Giants beat the Patriots to win their second Super Bowl over New England, 21-17. And in a weird quirk, the Giants Hotel in downtown Indianapolis was where we were staying. So they were there, and I met some people in Eli Manning's camp, and they said, Eli's having a party. You guys come in and hang out. So we're at Eli's private party after winning the Super Bowl, and I'm looking around. There's a lot of sports people there. There's a lot of agents. Then I look over and I see this guy in the corner. I'm like, I know who you are. There's no way you can't be who I think you are. It was Adam Duritz, the lead singer of the Counting Crows. So we sort of hung out and got a chance to know each other and talk a little bit. Turns out he is not only a sports fan, he is a huge Golden State Warriors fan. And now Adam Duritz, lead singer of the Counting Crows, joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Adam, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, really well. So I know you're from Baltimore, and you graduated from the Taft School here in Connecticut. How did you become such a diehard Golden State Warriors fan?
Oh, well, I was born in Baltimore, and I went to Taft for 1 year when I was a junior, but I grew up in Oakland. We lived in Texas and then
town business.
So I grew up in Oakland. Yeah.
All right, that makes all the sense now. The dots are being connected. By the way, I got to say, I would totally I did take a picture with Adam at that Super Bowl party, and I've shown it to a lot of people.
That's legit.
So, Adam, you've given me a lot of cred in circles I didn't have other cred, so I appreciate that.
That was a funny party to be at. My friend Rob Clements grew up in New Orleans, and he was actually friends with the Mannings.
Right.
He babysat all of them, Cooper and Peyton and Eli, when they were kids. They all won the Miles Clements Award, which was named after his brother for best football player there, and Rob included one. And so he was friends with them. So when they won, we were invited over to the hotel that night. I was kind of a tag along on that.
You're a good tag along.
I got to meet Archie Manning. It was really cool.
Yeah, you're a good tag along to have. By the way, I should point that out.
Did he have any wild Manning brothers stories for you?
No, I mean it's mostly babysitting stuff. So you know,
I was about
it had a limited appeal, really.
Yeah. I wasn't sure when maybe they were a rambunctious group of kids.
Yeah, how wild can you get when you're babysitting the Mannings? No, Archie and Olivia raised good kids. They raised good kids, and they had good babysitters. As Adam Duritz, lead singer.
That was really cool to be there that night, though. That was really nice.
It was fun. It was a blast. Adam Duritz, lead singer of the Counting Crows, with us. So are you nervous at all going into this game? Because a lot of people are thinking after game one, where, it took a little George Hill mistake and a J.R. Smith sort of mental blunder for the Warriors to survive. Now we go to game 3 in Cleveland, where the Warriors have had some struggles this year so far, Adam, on the road.
Well, they've been having trouble playing like the Warriors, but they really seem to be back into that on Sunday. They played, that was really Warriors basketball, and I thought the Cavs played really well Sunday, but, the Warriors were just great. That was a really good game to me because they were both playing really well. The Warriors never really pulled away until the fourth.
Hey, Adam.
When Steph got lit up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Adam, Ryan Hollins here. I grew up a diehard Laker fan, and to say the least, I was spoiled. Now, after playing 10 years in the NBA, I am very neutral to all sports. I just want to see good basketball and have something to talk about. You are already good, and you get Kevin Durant. Are you kidding me, bro? Talk about that. I mean, are you spoiled to it? You're on the loom of winning another championship? Or are you a naive fan that just kind of feels like this is just the way the world should revolve around the Warriors? Talk to me, brother.
Well, considering all the teams that have been completely put together in recent years, bringing Bosh and LeBron to Miami, really getting to handpick his team in Cleveland, the Warriors are pretty much a homegrown team. That's a bunch of number 7 picks. really. Draymond's a second-round pick. They built that whole team mostly homegrown until they added Durant. But, I mean, everyone says they're so loaded now, but, I mean, part of what they do really well is play well together. When they don't play well together is when they start playing like a super team is when I think they don't actually do as well. I mean, I definitely think it's great for us that we got to add Kevin Durant, but basically anybody who gets to add Kevin Durant, that's great for them. But I can see why he wanted to go play there too, because, the kind of basketball player he is, that's a pretty beautiful place to play basketball. Like, they really do play together at their best. That's got to be fun. As someone who, does a form of the arts, I imagine what it's like when you just want to play a certain way and you're not getting to do that. And you see a place where you can go do that. I remember a couple, 3 or 4 years ago now, a friend of mine who's friends with a lot of the guys in the Warriors and a lot of guys in the league was at a thing before the All-Star break. KD was there, and they were, a Warriors game was on. It was their last game before the break, and people were watching it, a bunch of people standing around, and he was talking about how beautiful the basketball was. And kind of musing to himself and a couple friends what it would be like to play. And this is before any of the championships. It's early in the first, 2015, the season they won. And my friend told me this conversation later that night, and I just thought, I remember saying to him, "Oh, he's going to be on the Warriors in 2 years." I know what that's like.
Wow.
I know what that feeling's like when you see something that you want that feels like the kind of person you really are, because you're not just talking about money, you're talking about your life.
Right.
And what you want to do with your life. And when you see a place where you can really do it the way you want to do it, for a person like Kevin Durant, I was just I said to him in a joking manner, he's going to be a Warrior in 2 years. I'll bet you. Well, and, who knows whether that was really going to happen, but it just made sense to me because I felt like he was that kind of player who'd want to play this, kind of exquisite brand of ball.
Well,
I wasn't really surprised that he came.
Yeah, I would own that because now you can say I told it before anybody else. As Adam Duritz, lead singer of the Counting Crows, joins us. And we talked about this, Adam, before we brought you on the program. There seems to be this cross-pollination between artists and sports. A lot of athletes want to get into arts, whether it's acting or creating. Martellus Bennett, a former tight end, is now huge into creating content and ideas and all this kind of stuff. What do you think it is about the draw that athletes so much want to be in music and sort of performing, and so many musicians are drawn to sports? What is the connection?
Well, I think everybody enjoys. Well, for me, I just really loved sports growing up, and I'm sure we all love to dunk. But, that's not happening for me anymore. But,
never happened for me.
That's I don't know. I grew up cutting school sometimes and going down to watch the A's play day games in the bleachers. I had several of the guys in our band did, and the Warriors, won championship right after my family moved there in the 70s. For me, it was just really cool because Steve used to come to our concerts a lot when he was still a player, Kerr. So I knew him from back then, and it was really cool to have, a friend of mine suddenly become the coach of my, favorite basketball. Well, one of my 2 favorite basketball teams growing up, because my first love was really the Celtics. Because we lived in Boston when I was real young. I don't know, it's been great for me right now because then Cal hired one of my best friends to be their football coach just a year ago, a couple years ago now, Justin Wilcox. So the Bay Area, where I don't live anymore, is full of friends of mine coaching my favorite teams, which has been really cool for me.
Adam Duritz on the Shell
But I don't know about the cross-pollination.
The cross-pollination. So I guess in that regard with those guys, well, first off, you mentioned the Cal coach. How did you guys get to become friends?
Well, I knew Jeff Tedford when he was coach there, and Justin was, in his 20s back then. He was linebackers coach, and we just kind of hit it off back then. We became really good friends, and when he went off to Boise State and then Tennessee and USC, we stayed close all these years. We just always stayed in touch and stayed friends, and then miraculously, Cal hired him. That was really exciting because he's one of my best friends. It's just we have a nice when I'm out at the Warriors games, we always go back after the game and have a talk in the coach's office afterwards. It's kind of become a ritual with all of us to just go sit in there and talk to those guys about stuff. The whole thing has just been like, for a sports fan, it's geek heaven. You know, it's like having backstage passes. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like that equivalent. And you mentioned Jeff Tedford before too, and that actually speaks to another sort of bucket list experience for someone who's a fan of sports. Obviously, you're a huge Cal guy, and you got the chance to talk to the Cal football team back in 2003 before they played USC, right? That was the Aaron Rodgers Cal Bears that you addressed before that with a motivational speech. Do you remember any of that speech, or is that one of those moments where you just sort of black out and go with it?
No, well, I mean, I think I was sort of surprised. I was at practice that afternoon, and right when they were wrapping up, Jeff came over and said, "Do you want to talk to the team?" And I was, you know. But then I just went and told them that I think I didn't use quite this kind of language, but I think I basically said, "They think you're a joke. They're a bunch of..." Well, I can't use it on the radio. Can we?
We got the dump button. We got the dump button.
Said, basically, you really need to go out there and just kick the crap out of them. And we won, which was amazing. It's the only time we've beaten SC in I don't know how long. And we won in like triple overtime. The great thing was then later on that year, we were playing Arizona in basketball, and they were number 3 as well, I think. And Joe Pasternak, who was Ben Braun's assistant coach, they asked me to come talk to that team. And I went in there and actually lied. I said I just talked to Steve Kerr earlier that afternoon, and he called me and made fun of Cal and told them they were going to kill us. Told me they were going to kill us, and it really embarrassed me, and I wanted them to go out and beat them so that my friend would lose the bet, basically. It was a total lie. I hadn't talked to Steve at all that day. And we won that game, too. And ever since then, I've kind of refused to do the first speeches anymore, because 2-0 is 2-0.
There you go.
That's just
Walk
a
off.
very...
Oh, man.
Wow. Good run.
Immaculate speech.
Go out on top with that one. Yeah. You've cemented a legacy there. It goes by what we go by here. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
No, that is money.
Absolutely.
And that's why you need to own the idea that you were the first guy saying that Kevin Durant was going to come to the Warriors.
Absolutely.
As Adam Duritz, the lead singer of the Counting Crows, with us, huge Golden State Warriors fan. Look, you were at the first 2 games. Are you traveling to Cleveland to see your team play?
I think I'm going to go Friday if they win. If they win tonight, I'm going to go Friday to Cleveland just because I kind of don't want it to be over. Although last year I went to Game 4 and we got the crap kicked out of us. But I had a lot of fun. We had extra seats, so we brought Mary Babers. We brought Draymond's mom and Kevin's mom to sit down with us because Mary was having trouble with the fans in Cleveland, so she sat in the front with us, and at least her and I just screamed all game long. In a sea of people who were not cheering for the Warriors, we were yelling.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's awesome. We'll see if you guys get there on Friday if they win tonight. But I have to ask you this: as an artist, as Adam Duritz, the lead singer of the Counting Crows, with us, Prince once said there was a part of him that wished he had never written Purple Rain because he knew he'd never write a better song in his life. Was there ever a song that you wrote that obviously became a big hit or you loved and you're like, man, I'm not going to do any better than that. That's as good as I can do it?
Well, I have songs I kind of look back on that way. Like, I think A Long December is kind of a perfect song. And for some reason, I never get tired of playing that. There's pretty nothing else that I want to play every day, but that song I feel really good about. It didn't make me think I'll never do anything better, but I do look back on it and think, well, that's just kind of perfect to me. I don't know. I'm very satisfied with that song. I don't know if it made me think I wouldn't do it again, but I don't know that I have. But, kind of songs, when you write them, they're kind of like your elbow or your knee. They're just all parts of you. I imagine if you have kids, it's like that. I don't know that I have favorites, but that one maybe.
What part of your body would Accidentally in Love be?
That's like a head thing. That's up in my head.
Yeah.
Which is the crazy part of me, so.
Well, look, man, let me put it this way. You're not the only one who thinks A Long December is a great song.
Amen.
I can't tell you how many times I've played that one as well, and we'll see if the hits keep coming for you, and we'll see if the wins keep coming from the Warriors tonight. Adam Duritz, lead singer of the Counting Crows, huge Golden State Warriors fan. We appreciate you being with us this morning, Adam. Thanks.
Loved
Adam.
it. Oh, my God.
Thanks, you guys, man. It was a blast. I love talking about that stuff.
You got it. Well, it was great talking with you. Adam Duritz, lead singer of the Counting Crows. I'm really glad that he said that about Long December because, Hanging Around is one of my favorite songs. There's a great ESPN story that I can tell about that. But I've always loved the that song A Long December. It's been fantastic.
I like that one. I know it doesn't get a lot of credit in the catalog. Big Yellow Taxi is in constant rotation for me.
Yep, absolutely. So, again, Golic and Wingo here with you. Mike Golic Jr. in for Papa and Ryan Hollins. Hot Take Hollins is here with us all show long. I do have to tell the hanging around story now because before the LA studios existed for ESPN, you did the 1 a.m. show here back in Bristol, and that was the show that re-aired all morning long. So you were here all night long, and you'd sit in the newsroom, and this is like just when you could find music to stream on the computer.
Yeah.
So I was doing the 1 a.m. show with Bill Pito, of all people. Bill now was working at MSG Network, doing a great job. Side note, Bill Pito, Carl Ravitch, and I were all in Binghamton, New York at the same time doing local television together. So that was kind of weird as well. But it's late at night. We're trying to get through writing the show, and we decided to play some music, and we cranked up the speakers on the computers as loud as we could to Hanging Around. Hanging around this town, and we're jamming, writing the songs. And it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or 12:30 at night as we're about ready to go down. And out of nowhere, an ESPN executive who we didn't know was still in the building comes barreling out of his office. He will remain nameless because he's no longer here. Remains nameless and said, "Would you guys be professional and turn down that bleepity blankety blank music? Act like professionals." And goes back into the office and slams his door. Now, mind you, this guy came to work every day dressed like a homeless person. So the idea that he was telling us to be professional, we thought was a little unique and interesting, but he could not have been more furious.
Wow.
That at 1 o'clock in the morning, we were out there banging music to Adam Duritz, hanging around by the Counting Crows. He was upset. He was peak level 5. He was DEFCON 1.
I think that might be the only time in human history that hanging around would be considered old man style racket.
Yeah.
It doesn't really qualify as racket in my book.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
But
I was So there's a little history with me and Bill Pito and the Counting Crows, so we're glad we had Adam Duritz on the show.
Now that we're done hanging around and now that Adam's not here, because I didn't want to bring this up while he was around, it's personal issues. Adam Duritz got a list, man.
Yeah,
he
did well for himself.
He's got a list. I mean, we hit the tease before. I mean, this is a guy who dated Jennifer Aniston.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about wanting to be Justin Timberlake. You said if you had your choice to switch artists, well, there's a guy who has certainly also been around some incredible women in his time.
Well,
and
you
Adam Duritz right up there.
You also shorted him one. Long December was Courtney Cox was in that video.
That's right.
Courtney Cox also part of the process, I believe. Stanzik, you have something you'd like to contribute?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in you guys. We give you questions, we give you suggestions, for interesting things to ask guests. So as you just mentioned, Duritz dated Jennifer Aniston. He dated Courtney Cox. I had a question on the screen for you. What about Lisa Kudrow?
What about her?
No one wanted to ask.
I believe she was married at the time. Whoa. So.
Oh.
Huh.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go, Dan.
This got real, Dan. You went
got real.
You messed with the bull and you got the horns, and now we're there.
So there you go. So anyway,
also, Trey, let's not tell people to swear on the radio.
That's probably
true.
I
tell you what, he took that
debate.
rant.
I was not expecting him to do that. Stanzik's all fired up now because I just totally faced him on that one. So
our legend.
Yeah.
You gave him an inch and he went for it, man. Yeah. That was impressive.
I was not expecting that, but maybe I should have. That's on me. I will put that on me. But I do find, when you played, did you find that there were a lot of artists that hung around because they love the cross pollination?
It's such a. I mean, Golic, am I wrong? I walk into the gym earlier this summer. I see a bunch of guys playing basketball. And at first glance, I'm like, these aren't basketball players. But I look again, and they're incredibly athletic. Athletes. Come up closer. It's the entire Los Angeles Rams team.
Wow.
Everybody but Goff was there. And they are having the time of their lives. I mean, if coach was watching, it's probably like, yo, hey, guys, chill out. Don't get hurt. Gurley walks by me.
Todd Gurley.
Not Gurley at all, but he's Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, Todd, all those basketball players want to play football. All you football players want to play basketball. He looks at me with the coldest look in my eyes and goes, you don't want to play football. Trust me, you don't want to play football. But nonetheless, everybody thinks they're a rapper. Everybody thinks they're a singer. Everybody I think there's just an infatuation with it. But I love it in today's day and age. Like, there's so many crossover effects now. Like, you can touch the lives of another football player or basketball player or singer or rapper and all our favorite personalities, if I'm not mistaken, like have a chance. Like, that's so cool hearing him talk about Kevin Durant and the Warriors. And you would have never gotten those stories a while ago. You just see Spike Lee in the front row in the Garden. That's about it. But
making
now
fun of Reggie Miller.
Everybody, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, look, Drake's at every Toronto Raptors game. He shows up at almost every Kentucky Championship basketball game.
My gosh.
We don't know if he's given a pregame speech that's prompted an upset win like Cal had over SC. So
How about that?
Adam Duritz got that on the resume.
Yes.
How about now, Drake?
Well, you know what? There's reason to believe with Adam Duritz when he gives you a pregame pep talk. So that was great. And
We're actually still looking for Drake right now.
There you go. All right, coming up, round 2 with me and Hot Take Hollins.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Ryan! I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Mike Golic Jr. in for his dad, Trey Wingo, and Hot Take Hollins here with us.
With benefits.
With nicely done. Justin Timberlake in that movie, by the way. Mila Kunis. Thank you very much. So we are continuing to count our way towards Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. We'll get into that a little bit later this hour, but we've had plenty of discussion between ourselves as well as NFL insider Adam Schefter on what did and what did not happen yesterday with the supposed celebration of the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl championship at the White House. Again, the White House rescinded the invitation after it was pretty clear that a very small portion of the Eagles were actually going to attend. It became a political football that everyone has weighed in on. We heard from Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders saying it was a political stunt. This just in. Everybody does political stunts. Let's not pretend like you haven't done that as well, especially when the president called all the players that kneeled SOBs at that rally in Alabama. Gosh. That was the definition of a political stunt, so let's not pretend like one side did it and the other side didn't. We've heard from a lot of people on that. Stephen A. Smith on his show had a weigh in on what did and didn't go down and his opinion on it.
The story is not the president expressing his opinion and deciding not to invite you to a White House you didn't plan on going to anyway. The story is not the 10 Eagles who were willing to show up. The story is how the NFL has gotten totally played in this issue, and an issue that they were starving to be removed from the public eye is now front and center during the NBA Finals, no less. And if the president can do this during the NBA Finals, could you imagine what he's going to do once the NFL season starts?
Well, Stephen A.'s great there. And look, the NBA Finals, I think, is somewhat irrelevant in the eyes of the president with this topic. He just thinks whenever he has a chance to take a swing at the NFL, he's going to take it. And I think we can all agree because of the policy and the way the NFL enacted it, saying it was a compromise, when in fact they didn't talk to the people they were trying to compromise with in any way, shape, or form, the NFL players. It really wasn't a compromise. It was just something they decided to do amongst themselves.
It was, and in this particular way, it's already backfired because we heard the president come out and say the players who stand in the locker room for the anthem will be being disrespectful to the flag in all the same ways that they characterize the taking a knee with. So you're already back to square one if you're the NFL owners who made the mistake of trying to appease an outside force when you're the NFL. That's the difficulty of trying to please as many people as the NFL usually does.
And that's the problem going forward. So, and we said this when the rule was announced at the owners' meetings, that you know what's going to happen week one. Every beat reporter for every team is going to take stock. They're going to have a list.
Counting.
Who was on the field, who wasn't on the field. And then you're going to ask the players that were in the locker room, why weren't you in the locker room? And then you're going to ask the players that were on the field, what did you think about your teammates not being on the field and being in the locker room? So this fire, as Adam Schefter astutely pointed out earlier, had essentially died down. And somehow the NFL thought it was a good idea to throw gas on it. And now it's just became a common explosion. And everybody's having an opinion about it. And your opinion earlier, Ryan, was you didn't think the leaders of the NFL were in terms of the players, were standing up enough on this. And we were sort of running out of time. So take this time now to explain that point a little further.
I'm so ashamed that I talked to you like that, Trey. Did
good,
that
brother.
really happen
it's
like
all
that?
Good. Welcome to every day of my life.
I
It's
can't
all
believe
good.
it. You're
good.
like one of my favorite people here. I can't. Hey, but nonetheless, let's get to it, okay? In the NBA, there are people that cannot be replaced. That can't be replaced. So when they speak up, the commissioner listens. Now, we have an A1 commissioner. Listen, Adam Silver is the best commissioner that sports has, and that's a fact. You see his track record. You see the growth of our league. You see how he expands our league. We're not beefing. We don't all agree. The locker rooms don't all agree. Trust me. But we are united, and our unreplaceable players speak up. We come to a consensus as players, as a voice in agreement. Because the guys who can't be replaced come and speak. I hear your point when it comes to NFL players. They're cycled in and out, shuffled in and out. You know who's not shuffled in and out? You know who are the leaders of the NFL? Who you can't replace? The quarterbacks. Tom Brady is not replaceable.
Well,
Drew Brees is not replaceable. Aaron Rodgers is not replaceable. You can't tell me they are.
Let me just say this. The Patriots were very close this past season about thinking about moving on from Tom Brady and replacing him with Jimmy Garoppolo. So to your point, you're absolutely right. Those are the leaders of the NFL, and they are the faces of the NFL, but literally no one is above being replaced in the NFL. That's the nature of the sport, Mike.
But not a quarterback. Not the quarterbacks, though. Those are the guys.
I understand Ryan's point in the fact we've always said if we want things to get done in the NFL, the quarterbacks would be the one that holds the cards, because if there's anything the league has that's close to the NBA superstar, it's the NFL quarterback. The problem is in the NBA, you're dealing with a group that's a little more homogenous. There's a little more unity in the general opinion on a lot of these issues. There are a lot more varying viewpoints, a lot more varying demographics being represented just by the nature of the breakdown of the NFL, and there's more bodies in this. So I think you're accounting for a lot of circumstances. You're asking for guys that may not genuinely hold opinions to go and espouse them. That's not saying they don't want to be leaders. They don't want to do leadership in their own right, but also to have them come out and have to own this platform for this particular cause in a way that might not be sincere for them.
So both of you two, I want to ask, if you're in the shoes of the NFL, and I understand because NBA players, I get there's more of a general consensus, but we disagree also, but we have a general player's voice. If you don't get a general player's voice, a consensus, a unity, leadership together, the NFL's just going to have to make their own rules. They don't know what the point of kneeling was. We know what you stand for. We kind of know it.
I think they know what the point of the kneeling was. The thing is, I think
what are
they
you
didn't want to
asking for
address it.
from the league, though?
Well, I mean,
they're like, what should we do?
There was a very pointed meeting in December where a bunch of the leaders of the NFL went and basically forced their way into room with ownership and went in there.
Who are you calling the leaders, though?
I'm calling the guys that went and met with the owners in the NFL, leaders of this thing. You can keep talking about the faces of the NFL all you want. I heard you defend before LeBron James saying if you're not in that locker room, don't criticize that leadership.
Correct.
You're not in this NFL locker room, so why are you going to now criticize those leaders?
I'm not saying that they aren't leaders in their own respect, but I tell you one thing, if no disrespect, if this was Damian Lillard or a good Paul Millsap, a good guy, respectable, but they were leading the NFL, the NBA voice, we wouldn't have much of a say. We wouldn't have the same say. So it's different when the guys who, week 1, week 2, week 3 are taking a kneel. You're not threatening for them to sit out because that game is getting dumped. You don't want those guys missing.
I hear what you're saying, and there is some credibility into the point you're trying to make, but I think you need to understand a couple of things. First of all,
to me.
There's 53 guys in that locker room. It's a lot easier to rope in 12 guys than it is 53 on every team. Hold on. And the other thing about replaceability, okay? Listen, there was a plan in place to replace arguably the greatest quarterback of all time this past season, Tom Brady. Peyton Manning was let go when he was still coming back and could potentially be at the peak of his powers by the team that drafted him in Indianapolis, and he went on to set records after that. Aaron Rodgers, just this past offseason, if you don't think Tom Brady is the best quarterback in football right now, Aaron Rodgers is. He didn't have enough juice to keep his own quarterback coach. They fired his quarterback coach, who he had a symbiotic relationship with, and they didn't even tell him about it.
Did he get fired, though?
They didn't even tell him about it.
Did he get fired, though?
No, of course not, but they didn't even want to weigh in on his opinion on it. And he came on this show with us at the Super Bowl and was rightfully miffed about it, okay? So I get what you're saying, but the mantra in the NFL, whether you think it's right or wrong, whether you believe it or not, is that everyone can be replaced. Joe Montana.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Those guys aren't fighting for it.
You don't,
and that's
have
why
to buy
NFL
it.
players don't have rights. They complain about non-guaranteed contracts. They complain about everything that gets thrown at them. But I tell you for a fact, we haven't seen none of the guys, whether they agree with the rest of the players or not, which we know there are differences, and there are differences in the NBA. They aren't united, and they aren't standing, and they aren't speaking. We don't got to agree, but as players, we the same. I need you to play for me.
All I'm going to say is this. We have to separate the way that leadership and players are addressing this issue because it's sensitive and different in a way that labor issues are not. And labor issues I will always hold in a different regard than this because the leaders are fighting for NFL labor issues. And all those things that you mentioned go back to the fact that the NFL has to negotiate and the players have to negotiate with one difference in mind than any other league not named the NHL, and that's your own physical health and safety in the short and long term. The NBA doesn't have to deal with that in the same way. You can't replicate the sense of urgency that creates when you've not got to negotiate your schedule, the benefits that you want both short and long term against the dollars that you're earning now, against the things against the league, because health and safety is a different priority in the NFL than it is in the NBA or any other league.
And it will always be millionaires fighting against billionaires for the shortest career possible in pro sports, and that's the biggest difference. I hear what you're saying. There is some truth to it, but there's an undeniable factor that is different in the NFL.
I say it from experience because until Chris Paul wasn't the president of the Players Union, until LeBron didn't speak up, it wasn't the same in the NBA.
I appreciate that, but we're up against a hard out. We got to go. American Pharoah, the Triple Crown winner in 2015, is living the life.
I'm just reading from this article. Yeah. He'll have sex up to 3 times a day. And the quote is, they enjoy it quite a bit. He now commands $200,000 per cover.
Beforehand and afterward, there's not much room for cuddling, foreplay, or breakfast.
$200,000? No cuddling, no nothing? No licking, no nuzzling, no cuddling?
Just call her an Uber.
I mean, come on.
Devin, in my ear, just says, we're back here Googling horse sex jokes.
Okay.
Go ahead and read the joke you found.
Stable relationships are for horses.
And just like that, a segment was killed. Golic and Wingo reminding you that former unified junior welterweight champion Terrence Crawford goes up in weight to challenge welterweight world title holder Jeff Horn in a fight that will air live on ESPN Plus in the U.S. at 9:30 Eastern on Saturday, June 9th, from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas.
That's SportsCenter, brought to you by Discover Card. Become a new card member, and Discover Card will match all the cash back you've earned dollar for dollar at the end of your first year. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Okay, so it has been quite the day. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic Jr., and Hot Take Hollins, our NBA analyst with us in studio. Living up to the term, by the way. You've lived up to the term.
Hell of a day here, man.
Hell of a day. You tear me down, and you pull me up, and you tear me down, and you pull me back up, Trey.
Yeah, just when you think you're out, they suck you back in.
That's what she said.
So let's go one more time to the NBA Finals, Game 3 tonight. We've been over this round and round. And Rodney Hood's going to be in there. You don't think he's going to supply much. They're obviously hoping for a spark. They were 11-2 in the regular season when he had double-digit points, but we'll see if he can get that going. So what has to work, in your opinion, for them to make this a series? They tried it last year. They got out to the big lead in Game 3, couldn't hang on against Golden State. What has to happen tonight for them to win the game?
As we talked earlier, my big keys, if you guys remember, pace and physicality. Pace is important.
Like Herm Edwards said.
Pace is important. Why? Because LeBron now can play the whole game. Very important, right?
Yep.
And at a comfortable pace. He doesn't have help, so he doesn't want to get in a track meet. Physicality, why? Because the Cavaliers, because he doesn't have those stars, they got to beat Golden State up. And now you neutralize their running. Now those role players become efficient. Now Nance, now Thompson, now Love and Green are creating extra possessions, extra opportunities for their team. I'm going to give you a third key, which is very instrumental. Clearly and obviously, Steph Curry. So now your pick and roll coverage is life and death because you watched Steph Curry pick them apart last game. He made incredible reads as Kerr made some incredible changes, and we'll acknowledge those. One thing they did is you saw their guys sprinting into pick and roll and slipping, then they would sprint and hold the pick and roll. Why is that important? That's important because if I'm a guy running into coverage and I jump out too soon, I'm giving up a dunk, as you saw JaVale McGee started a dunk with now. Then JaVale sprints into a pick and roll. He holds the pick. So now you're worried about giving up the dunk. Steph Curry steps off one dribble from about 30 feet away, fires up a three, which he did not miss. So now that pick and roll coverage is night and day because you're giving up threes, you're giving up layups, as we would say, you're giving up the cakes. So you want to come to a consistent coverage in which you don't let the offense dictate what they want to do. And that's what Kerr did a great job of. They knew the looks that Cleveland would get. So they came out early in the game and they were aggressive. They trapped. They went and got LeBron. What do you do now? You dictate the plays that LeBron makes instead of in game 1, 51 points, where LeBron dictated everything. You know the difference with a great player. You're letting him run versus you saying, no, I'm going to confine you to do one thing, and that's how you're going to beat me.
We've seen Cleveland do that to Golden State in prior finals where they would try and rough up Steph Curry, where they would get into a guy who's a much less physically imposing player who's come into some of these playoff runs nicked up and try and knock him off a little bit.
And he's untouched, right?
Yes. And that's the one thing you've got to prevent now if you're the Cavs.
About 30 seconds left. Yes or no? Do they win?
Yes, they win.
Cavs win, make it a series. Yes or no?
Cavs win, going away tonight.
I think so, too. I think they got a shot, and I think we'll see if we got a series tonight. If we don't, we'll come back tomorrow and say, boy, did we mess that up. We needed Adam Duritz to make that prediction for us. By the way, thanks to Adam Duritz of the Counting Crows and all of our guests, including the coach, Herm Edwards, for joining us today. We also had Adam Schefter on with us. Tomorrow, we've got Greg Olson, tight end for the Carolina Panthers. Ooh. Mike Tirico, who I bumped into at the Detroit airport, by the way. That was a great story.
Legend.
Carlos Boozer, we'll go on a booze cruise, and we'll also have Stu Gatz. That's all coming up on the Thursday edition of Golic and Wingo. And let me just say,
Cliff, for crying out!